he was blocked from investigating the big guy.
The American people clearly see that.
Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, their goal might be to make it just as complicated as possible so that everybody sort of just throws their hands up and says, none of us can understand this.
The escalating investigations into President Biden's troubled son, Hunter, and how he got what House Republicans are calling a sweetheart deal to plead guilty only to misdemeanors of tax evasion. 2 IRS whistleblowers are now alleging that senior Justice Department officials shut down efforts by prosecutors to charge Hunter with more serious crimes. Joining us now is Representative Scott Perry, Republican of Pennsylvania, who is also a member of the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, welcome to the show. It's good to see you this evening.
It's great to see you, Lindsay. And yes, we are very curious based on the testimony from the whistleblowers. It would seem that somebody is lying, either the United States Attorney for the state of Delaware or the Attorney General. Somebody is fibbing, and the result of it is a disparate treatment for the president's son and potentially for the president himself. And we need to know how that occurred, why that occurred. Were politics considered in this? Was the president's office and family considered in decisions that are made? Because, as you know, no person is above the law. Of course, we've heard the left say that over and over and over again, but apparently some people are above the law as long as their name is Biden. And for every other citizen that is towing the line, that is playing by the rules, it is unacceptable that our justice system is destroyed on behalf of individuals that are connected to the administration or a particular political ideology. And that certainly seems to be the case right now.
So this whistleblower, Mr. Shapley, came out and he said that he was blocked from investigating the big guy, which we expect is Joe Biden. Democrats have said this only deals with Hunter. Joe Biden wasn't involved at all. And Joe Biden, as we know, has said many times that he didn't know about his son's foreign business dealings. What are you doing to run on that lead, that he's saying they were blocked from investigating Joe Biden?
Well, look, it sure seems like they would have no reason to say that unless it were true. So we need to verify that. Regarding whether the fact this is about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, look, it's about both of them, but it's clear that Hunter Biden's just a conduit to his father, and he was using his father as leverage against foreign entities to profit himself and potentially his father and certainly his family. And so what we're doing in that regard is we're going through the bank records to make sure that where these monies came from, where they went, and if they were reported. And obviously they weren't reported. That's how you get into the tax evasion. Why was Hunter Biden given a special deal? But quite honestly, if anybody else received that money and didn't report it, including the president of the United States, what's been going on at the IRS and the FBI and the Department of Justice to seek justice in those cases? So we're going through the records, and methodically, we don't accuse people of things that we can't prove, but we're going to go through the records. And if the facts lead us to those places, we're going to follow those facts. And like I said, and then accountability will come swiftly thereafter.
All right, Congressman Perry, appreciate your insight. We'll have to have you back as this investigation continues to unfold.
God bless you. Thank you very much.
Senator Lindsey Graham is making a bombshell allegation that the prosecutors investigating Hunter Biden were shown the secret FBI documents, which alleges a larger bribery scheme involving multi-million-dollar payments to the Biden family from foreign interest. So are they just looking the other way? Joining us now is Bob Barr, a former Republican congressman from Georgia and former U.S. attorney. Congressman Barr, welcome to the show. Good to see you this evening. Okay, every day I feel like we get new allegations on the Biden family. So is the Justice Department just not taking these seriously?
It's very hard to tell. What you seem to have here, Lindsay, is a long-standing, ongoing dispute between the IRS and the Department of Justice. This is not unusual. The IRS carries considerable weight with the Department of Justice whenever there's a U.S. attorney, as I was in Atlanta for several years, seeking to bring tax charges against a target, an individual. The IRS is usually very careful about what cases they bring so that they don't set a precedent if they lose the case for other districts. Here we seem to have the opposite effect. We have the IRS through whistleblower testimony or whistleblower statements saying that it was the IRS that was aggressively pushing the Hunter Biden investigation and the lawyers at the Department of Justice who were slowing it down. We don't know, certainly at this point, how much of that is true, but I think Senator Graham is right. There's a lot of smoke here, and I think it's a legitimate area for Congress to look more deeply into.
Okay, so we have this whistleblower Shapley who's now given statement under oath, also to the public. How much responsibility does the Department of Justice have to incorporate that now into an investigation? Because this U.S. attorney, David Weiss, has said this investigation was ongoing still.
And hopefully it is, because there are so many unanswered questions, both those that you just mentioned that the Senate and the House have uncovered, as well as the public's interest here. So I think it needs to, the Department of Justice, while they may not have a legal responsibility to answer these questions, they certainly have a responsibility in terms of transparency and the public's interest here. Now, whether or not Merrick Garland will authorize a deep dive by the Congress, either House of the Congress, into the inner workings of his prosecutors here, I don't know yet. But I think it would serve him well to do so, to try and remove any taint that certainly is there that the case has been improperly slowed down. It's really up to Merrick Garland to show the American people that it hasn't been, if that's the case.
So let me ask you about this judge who's been appointed to the Hunter Biden plea deal case, a Trump-appointed judge, that is. Should she or can she incorporate this knowledge of the whistleblowers into the plea deal? Could that change how she rules on that?
I don't think that that really would be relevant for the judge in terms of sentencing. If, in fact, it's a plea deal that both the defendant, Hunter Biden in this case, and the Department of Justice lawyers have worked out, it would be very unusual for a judge to go behind that on issues that aren't directly related to the plea itself. So I doubt that that will happen later in July when he is set to enter his plea.
So these whistleblowers have said that they were blocked from investigating the big guy, which we suspect is Joe Biden. Should it, or can at this point, we talk about Attorney General Merrick Garland, can he appoint a special counsel to investigate that? Would that appease the public? What is his role that he should do at this point?
The case is already so complicated that very few people publicly, except those of us like yourself that follow this, or myself as a former U.S. attorney, or members of Congress, can really understand what's going on. Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, their goal might be to make it just as complicated as possible so that everybody sort of just throws their hands up and says, none of us can understand this. So the Department of Justice needs to be very careful not to overcomplicate the case and to simply go before the Congress if, in fact, there is no damage to an ongoing investigation, and clear the air. If there is, in fact, a serious ongoing investigation of Hunter Biden, then the Department of Justice needs to make that clear to the Congress, and Congress should back off for the time being. So that really, to me, is the issue here, whether or not there's a true ongoing investigation or not.